Hi, I'm Zandi, I'm 34 and I've been feeling pretty lost lately. Growing up, I've always wanted to do a job that made me excited about life, something that would make me want to jump out of bed and start the day feeling like I can't wait to see what happens next. And many people called me idealistic because a job isn't something you're supposed to love, it's work, it's putting food on the table. But nevertheless, I designed my life around my talents and my passions, just like my mom taught me. And that's how I ended up working from home, creating content for a living. And it was going well for a while. My husband and I were both working from home. We had pretty flexible schedules. We gymmed in off-peak hours. We worked and traveled. And even though money was up and down for me, I was happy. I was free. But then my husband moved back into an office setup and I entered into this new phase where working from home turned into being isolated. Travel became less, flexibility became less, and I started feeling boxed in. And I was worrying more and more about my up and down income, spiraling about how I can become more consistent, earn more consistent. And it felt like everyone around me was reaching milestones, buying houses, having babies, building successful businesses, and I just kept treading water. So I started this year really ambitious, like I guess we all do. I set the goals and I even made a vision board for the first time in my life, but no matter what I came up with, I just couldn't get a grasp of where I'm heading anymore. And at the risk of sounding redundant, I just feel so lost. February has been pretty brutal for me. It started out the month with me just spiraling over and over and over again. So I would think about my life and where I'm going and content creation, which is what I mainly do. And I get these like loops in my brain that I just can't solve. So I would be like, okay, wait, I need to think and brainstorm. What am I going to do with my Instagram? What I'm going to do with my content? And then I think, okay, well, maybe I should do this thing. Maybe I should like change. Maybe I should pivot and focus on these types of things. And then I'm like, but I can't do that because I've already proven in the past that doing that doesn't work. So I need to think of something else. And then I think of all of these different things and I have all of these different ways of proving to myself that it doesn't work, that it doesn't work with how my brain works. It makes me feel so hopeless, like there's no hope for the future, like I don't know where I'm going. I know it sounds very dramatic. This week, I just decided I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to think of content ideas. I'm not going to create content. I'm going to stop scrolling completely because that just makes everything worse. So you keep comparing yourself to other people. You think you're going to get like creative ideas, but it doesn't work like that. And also, like I've just realized that whenever I feel emotionally dysregulated, I just want to scroll. That's all I want to do. I'm just getting more depresso as the time goes on, and I just want to scroll and like escape that feeling, and it's honestly not good. There were so many times during this week where I just felt this pain, or I guess guilt, inside me for not being productive. My mind would be so worried about losing momentum, but then when I really thought about it, I would always end up at the same conclusion. And that is what I've been doing until now. The spiraling, the working until burnout has also not been getting me momentum. And there were times where I felt this pull to create inside me. It was the only thing that I would feel any excitement about, however dull it might have been. But then I would sit down in front of my laptop and all of these doubts and fears would flood my mind. What if I chose the wrong topic? Okay, wait, let me just start. No, that sentence sounds so weird. And it would just be relentless. So I'd close my laptop and remind myself to take the break. I promised I would. So there's 2 books that I'm reading at this moment. The one is The Artist Way, which if you're a creative, you probably have heard of this book or you have done this book in the past, but basically it's like to just rediscover your inner voice, your creative inner voice. And then the second book that I'm reading is Designing Your Life. So it's these 2 Stanford professors that approach designing the life that you want with the same principles as like design principles. After a week of just doing my morning pages, which in essence is just 3 pages of brain blurts, and doing the tasks in the Designing Your Life book, I knew I needed to approach solving problems in my life differently. I've been looking at my problem like there can only be one solution, which is why I always end up feeling stuck and lost about what to do. But if I can completely reframe the problem, then I could possibly come up with a totally different solution. And maybe I won't be so lost anymore. It's a strange idea though, being lost, like life should have this well-lit path that we're meant to follow. And if I look back over my life, there have been so many times where I felt like I do now, where the path wasn't clearly lit, and I thought that if someone didn't come and save me right now, I might never make it out. But the truth is, now I just see a girl who kept going in the dark, trusting this really faint voice inside that life isn't a template to be followed. It's something to be discovered, something that can change and change who you are. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And honestly, thank God that it's not. Okay, so I know the music is getting pretty inspiring here towards the end, but I do want to inspire a real feeling and not something that feels unattainable. I don't know that I have found, after last week's no Instagram, a clear direction. I do know that I really want to do YouTube, and this has been true since I think 2015. I've really wanted to start a YouTube channel, and I just made it this big thing in my head where everything had to be perfect. I had to have the perfect idea and I have to have everything figured out. We were with our friends this weekend and we were having this big discussion about my lostness. And our one friend, I said to him, like, the whole thing with Instagram, I have this guilt feeling because I started Instagram being this travel girl, going on adventures and showing a bit of my quirky side, which honestly I only showed to my husband, but like leaning into that and being like this happy girl. And right now I'm going through a stage where I don't feel exactly like that. I'm not traveling all the time. I have all of these deep feelings. And he just said, well, you can't always be the quirky, adventurous, full of life girl. Life is up and down. You go through stages where things don't make sense and everything feels hard, and it won't be true to share that part. So I think that's the thing that I'm holding on to. I just need to take it a step at a time. I hope that there are some of you that can relate and that can come along with this journey or for this journey and even share like where you might be at, because I really am interested in hearing other people's perspectives and where they are in life. I think the struggles could be universal. I hope you are along for the ride. I hate it when people say you guys, like it's just a number.